So this is Photoshop's final. We're going to do a photo collection, which will help you build the images you need for your final story. This is an illustration of a little old lady who lived in a shoe. Our final story is going to be a modified children's limerick, where it's more about us having fun and enjoying being outside. Ironic for these days with the coronavirus. I do have an ask of that you take photos, lots of photos at first, and then edit it down to 5 people in action, 3 group shots, and then a few headshots, 5 locations. This is also located on Canvas. And this is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a Photoshop file that is laid out using layers, but we're going to use artboards within layers. And within the layers, there's artboard and then there's a layer underneath it. So I'm going to explain exactly how to make these artboards, title them correctly, and then you want to make sure that you put each image already edited on each of the pages. Make sure you really use the whole page, and you want to clean these images and separate them. So this is before it was put into the artboard that these images were separated and cleaned. And then I would move the ones that I like into the artboard. But you can see I've made quite a few different shots. Watch out for ones that are straight on. It's nice to see people looking off to the side. They might be looking at another group of people. So this is the group shot. All right, we're going to set up your photos. You're going to open up Photoshop. And here was what we had before. This is already organized. But I'm going to show you how to organize. First, I have all my photos that I have taken shots of. So this is from my digital camera. So it'll look a little bit different from what you have off of your phone. Your phone is perfectly fine. And we're going to open up a new document to start this off. Write photo 11 by 17. Make sure it's inches. And we want to make sure that it's 300 dpi, CMYK, and transparent. Then you can hit create. Just remember that it should be 11 by 17. That's one of the most important things because we want to make sure once we add all these together, they're all in the right size. Now we're going to go and we're going to create a new artboard. It's a little bit different location than we've seen in Illustrator. So we go to artboard and we can change the name. And you could change the document size, but that's correct. And then we just hit OK. Yeah, they're the same size. And there you can see is our layer inside of our artboard. Now we're going to create a new artboard again, or we'll drag it, and then you want to go over that little square with the plus. It'll make a copy. So you don't have to go all the way up to the artboard. You can just make a copy, change the number, drag again, and drop, and change the number. So on and so on. So I would set up all 15 of your pages at 11 by 17 first. Then you can come back and start adding your images. So each one relates to each of these canvases that we see on the page. So now let's get our images and start putting them on the pages. So I know where that folder is. I go to place link, and I want to go to my desktop. I want to find that folder that I have the images in, and then I'm going to find my JPEGs, and I'm going to place it. I think it's best to use linked images instead of using embedded, because you have 2 options, placed or embed. So I'm just resizing this and kind of placing it into the canvas page so that you can really see the image. So this isn't your final composition. This is just, collecting the images so that you're ready. Again, that was place link. And I'm going to expand this because I really like the street view. I think it gives me more space that people could be walking around and doing stuff in. And I could mask it by going to the title of the artboard, finding that layer, and then creating a mask. But a shortcut is if I put a selection around the page first, and then I create the mask, it will crop it for me. And there you go. I can do it also with this other one, my landscape 1. I select it. I can increase the size. But I think right now it's kind of taking away a lot of the space and depth. But I'm just showing you that you can crop it also. So again, I go to my... Oh, I want to make sure that you know that you can go to the top and then hit that check. I usually just double click, and that indicates that I'm done with the transformation. And then I'm again selecting it and then hitting my mask so that it is masked. And then you can just keep doing that for each one of them and editing your images so they look like this. I love the views here. They have a lot of depth, especially these roads and streets. I think the house is too shallow. It's hard to put people in that space. If you look at some of these images, you also should watch out for resolution. If I get close to them, you can see that a lot of them are a little blurry. So let's start saving. And to save, you would go to save, but in Photoshop, you really need to go to export. So you go to export, then you go to Artboard to PDF. Under File, Export, Artboard to PDF, which is very different than what we've used to do in Illustrator. So write that down, make a note of it. You'll get this command here. And what I'm doing now is I'm sending this PDF to a location that I want. So I'm setting the location, and I picked that I wanted it on my desktop. Now I'm going to change the name. I think this name is way too long, and just put it into his photo, and then I'm just going to put my initials or photography. I want to make sure that Artboard contains contents only, so it's the Artboard with the contents, not anything outside of it. And the rest of the stuff is what we need to make sure that is selected. Under Options, we have the multi-page document. We need that. What we're saying is that we want all of these in one document. Also, scale. Don't crank up the quality because you want to be able to send it to me. This is just like a quick look. So this other name option right here, Artboard name, I like, because you'll see that in the PDF, it'll write out all of this work you've done of naming all of the artboards. So if this happens really quickly, something went wrong. So you're going to have to do it again. I find that it can be a little glitchy. It's not that you did anything wrong. It's just, it's a little glitchy. So go back up to File. And you want to go to Export Artboard PDF. And this information is going to come up. Direct it to the right location. Change the name because this name was long. You won't have to change the name because you'll probably have a better name than the name that's here. And again, all of this information is the same thing we had before, and it's good. Artboard. Include background in export, multi-page document we want JPEG, we want quality 8. It could be a little less, it shouldn't be little, it should be 8's fine, just keep it 8. And then the naming, the artboard, it's great to have that because it gets put on the actual PDF. And then you just hit run. And this time, it should go to each artboard and kind of stay there for a second. You can see it move to each artboard. That's indicating that it's saving each artboard instead of failing. Because if it happens really quickly, it doesn't move to each artboard, it's not saving correctly. So once it's all saved, you want to make sure that you send this file to me. Again, remember, I'm looking for clean images. So this was successful. Looking for clean images. You want them to be high res, and it's more important that I see what you're thinking about. This is not the final look. It just should be some collections of some photos you're possibly going to use. And I did give you a minimum, but you can do more than that. The size could be larger. Use the whole space. Make sure it's at its highest res using the whole space, because this will be in a document in a little bit smaller size. But you want to have as many options as you can. After this, just send it to me.